Howdy, this is Miss Flora. Going to do a quick training on how to calibrate a thermometer. There are two ways you can do it. You can use a boiling water method or ice water method. I'm going to show you the ice water method because it's so simple. So stay tuned. All right, so you start off with a cup of water and your thermometer, of course. I said a cup of water, but you actually start off with a cup of ice. And then you go ahead and you want your cup to be mostly ice. Then you're going to fill the cup with water. Okay, so now we need to give that water time to climb, the temperature, time to climb in that water. So I'm going to go ahead and stir this ice up. Okay. All right, so now that it has sat for a while, I'm going to get the thermometer and I'm going to insert it into the case, like so. All right, so I'm going to insert it into the water. You want to insert it at least 2 inches into the water so that you can make sure that it's actually reading the temperature. Most thermometers, you have to insert them 2 inches before they can take a reading. All right, so then you just go ahead and hold it for 30 seconds. So we'll hold for 30 seconds here. Okay, so the temperature that we're looking for on this thermometer is going to be 32 degrees. It can be off 2 degrees. So that means if I check this temperature and it says it's 30 degrees, or if it says it's 34 degrees, since I'm using ice water, that thermometer would still be okay to use. But if it's off by more than those 2 degrees, then you need to recalibrate the thermometer. So you would just make adjustments. Okay, so that's our 30 seconds. Now, if I take a look at the thermometer, this one's actually properly calibrated. It says 32 degrees. All right, this is take 2 of this video. I failed when I tried to lift the camera to the needle. So I'm gonna do a quick little spin grab right there. So it's at 32 degrees. Okay, so if it was off though, since this is a dial thermometer, it has the little needle on there, and underneath it has a little notch where you can recalibrate the thermometer. So what I would do if it wasn't properly calibrated, and every thermometer is different, I would insert it back into the sleeve, and then I could turn that needle on there to adjust to 32. To make it the easiest to check it, it would be easiest to keep it in the water and to move the needle to 32. Because otherwise you'll be taking it in, taking it out, and you have to read. It's a lot more work that way. So that's nice and simple. So that's how you calibrate a thermometer. You want to calibrate your thermometer when you first take it out of the package to make sure that it's reading properly. Anytime it experiences extreme temperature changes, you want to calibrate that thermometer. If you drop it, just check your thermometer from time to time to make sure that it is reading properly. All right, so that's our quick little video. We know that it's a whole lot to thermometers. Always read your thermometers, the directions on your thermometer, because it might be something a little different about the thermometer you have. Okay, thanks for watching. I'm back. I need to do just a little bit of clarification on a couple of points. On the dial thermometers, you can recalibrate those. On the digital thermometers, you can check for the calibration and see if it's properly calibrated. But if it's not properly calibrated, you're not going to be able to recalibrate those. You either have to throw the thermometer away, or your manufacturer to that thermometer might give you another option. So you have to read your instructions to find out if there's any other options. So I mentioned 32 degrees. I was referencing 32 degrees Fahrenheit. If you're checking in Celsius, it will be 0 degrees Celsius. Okay, so when you are recalibrating a dial thermometer, the red needle there, you're either going to use the hinge that's on your thermometer there. See that little loop there? And usually If it has that loop there, there's going to be a notch or a little screw underneath it where you can use the hinge to move that notch, or that screw that's underneath there, which will move the needle. Or since this is shaped like a hex underneath there, like a hexagon, you can just use a wrench. Just use a wrench to move it. You just insert that thermometer into that cup of ice water, and then just put that wrench on there, and then adjust the needle where it's back on 32 degrees Fahrenheit. All right, I believe I got all of my points that I skipped over or that needed clarifying. Bye for now.